Well, hello. Today I'd like to talk to you about a German fountain pen. This is a little piece of technology that I find very hard to find now. What this is a, I'll try and pronounce it correctly, Durchschreiber fountain pen, which is German for carbon copy. This is a pen designed to write on carbon copies. The nib is about twice as thick as a regular nib, and I use carbon paper for one lab in my chemistry class, and that's it. And kind of hard to find. So let's take a look at the pen. All right, so this is the Kaweco 36D, kind of a quiet little pen. Let's take a look at it. So one of the things that sticks out right away is this blue finial. Typical pens like this 37 have a black finial. So the reason it has a blue finial is to make it stand out because it has a carbon copy nib. So before we look at the nib, I'll just point out Kaweco Durchschreiber. No, Schreiber. Sorry. I actually really struggle to read those letters. Durchschreiber. There we go. 36D, extra fine nib. There's a piston filler. If I open the nib up, or the cap, you can see inside. This nib doesn't have any special markings other than it's 14 karat gold. But this is a carbon copy nib, which means it's stiffer than your typical Kaweco nib. A segmented ink window. So, I got out this Kaweco 37 because I thought they'd be pretty close. Let's cap them both and we'll just kind of compare. So, kind of the same idea with finish, although the 37 is a bit larger. 37 is not as well restored because I restored it. This is not a Proto-Pen's restoration, whereas the 36 is. If we just take a gander at the two nibs, I don't know that these are contemporaries of each other. They definitely seem to be a bit different. The 37 is longer and more slender. I had read that the 36 is thicker, and judging by this angle, although I had trouble photographing it, I'd say that the 36, this one, is a thicker nib. And the feeds are a bit different. Kind of similar ink windows, but this one's a little longer thingy for the cap. So, yeah, a lot of similarities there, but they are definitely their own pen. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't do a whole lot with carbon paper. I used to think carbon paper was really cool, but I just don't use the damn stuff. It's it's the 21st century. I have no use for it. So, but it's a little piece of history I thought was worth buying, so I did. I think I'm going to ink it up with what else? Parker Quink Washable Blue. This bottle is going to be empty soon. Then I'll have to come up with a new default ink. But anyway, lots of bubbling going on, so that's always a good sign. We'll do it one more time for luck. And inhale. And yes, we've got a nice fill. I've had one or two pens fail at this point, but this one seems to be doing pretty well. So this is a Kaweco 36D. D for Durchschreiber. I was going to look up Durch, but I know Durchschreiber means carbon paper. So the ink, of course, is Parker Quink. I have two eyes in Quink for some reason. Washable blue. Okay, if you go back, that washable blue is quite intense in some of my pens. Not so much in this one. Flex, well, with a nib that's meant for carbon paper, I'm not expecting any. A little line variation, a little shading, but nothing super exciting. But, you know, again, I didn't expect it because of the type of nib I have here. Wetness and flow. Not a very wet pen. Flows, but it's not very wet. Smear test. I'm not expecting anything exciting. Yeah, that's probably the worst smear test I've ever done. Okay, and reverse writing. This is always a bit of a wild card with any pen. Flex pens usually do worse with this, so this one might do well. Oh yeah, I don't notice a difference other than it is ultra extra fine. And on the preview screen I'm looking at, I can't even really make this out. I can see it in my rating, so I don't know if it's even recording. And finally, the world famous Pierre Gustafson test. And I will be honest, I don't have a prediction for this, but I am darn curious what this is going to do. You know what? That may not be the most exciting, flexy, oh my god, writing, but damn, it kept up with the Pierre Gustafson test. I can see using this pen for sketching. Carbon paper I use one time every year in chemistry for one lab. I don't use carbon paper for anything. So it's very hard to find, too, I will tell you that. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with how this pen turned out. No, not going to be one of my flexy, majestic pens, but this is the kind of pen I would use for just daily writing. So that was my Kaweco 36D for Durchschreiber. If I mispronounce that, I apologize to the entire German nation. So kind of a neat pen. As I've used it since then, it seems to be writing better. It wasn't writing badly at the time, but, you know, you have to remember what the pen is. A pen designed for pressing down hard enough that you're going to write through carbon paper. And so you need a little bit of a rigid, tough nib to do that. And that's what this is. It's a very nice writer. Of course, it's a very comfortable pen. I like the blue top. I just think that looks a little different. And I don't know what else really to say about it, except I remember when I was in high school, and in college for one class too, we had to do lab books, and we would use carbon paper between the sheets. So we would keep the white sheet, and then we would hand in the yellow carbon copied sheet. And of course you didn't want to lose the piece of carbon paper or anything, but I don't know, do they even make those anymore? I know for the science class, because I've always been a fountain pen guy, I couldn't use my beloved fountain pen. I had to get a ballpoint just for that class, which was annoying. But anyway, did it even make them? And nowadays I have my students do their labs using OneNote, and then I can see a copy of it and say, hey, you got to write formulas and stuff. So just a little piece of history. And that's really what this fountain pen is. It helps that it's a good writer, but it is a piece of history. Because nowadays, why would you make a fountain pen for carbon paper? You wouldn't even think of it. We can run it over to the photocopier. We can photograph it with our cell phone and put it on Evernote or something. There's no reason anymore. So, yeah, just a little piece of fun history. So I want to thank you for watching. Oh, before I forget, thanks to a viewer comment, I had a viewer suggest that I should include a full page of writing with the pen. I couldn't quite get myself to do that, but what I did instead is years ago I bought this, what is it? Oh, not this one. Oh, it's over there. Anyway, I bought myself this Moleskine sketch notebook. I had the idea of doing like a daily sketch and putting it on Instagram. Luckily, I decided to try to keep up with the sketches first and see where that led me. And yeah, that did not happen. But I decided, instead of a full page of text, what if I do some little drawings and cartoons and some writing and stuff on a page for each pen? So I'm going to try doing that going forward. If you want to see it, in the video description, you'll find a link to an Evernote page, which will have, of course, as always, close-ups of the pen, at least as good as my cell phone camera can get, and a kind of badly posed picture of the page, because my regular set where I photograph everything was down for the count at that time, well, down for cleaning at that time, so I didn't really have my good lights and everything set up, so I just photographed it on my lap. But anyway, let us know what you think. And it is, of course, on Instagram, too, if you've looked there. So, hope you enjoyed this little piece of history, this carbon copy fountain pen nib. Well, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.